Hello, Williams class. For your English lesson today, the learning objective is, can I box up the text map to better understand the structure being used? So let's read through our text map together. Boudica, queen of the Iceni tribe. Have you ever wondered what makes a good leader? Read on to find out more about a famous leader who led her tribe in a rebellion against the Roman Empire. Who was Boudica? Boudica was the joint ruler of the British Iceni tribe, who lived in a region of Britain now known as East Anglia, with her husband Prasutagus. Under Roman law, Boudica, as a woman, had no right to inherit her husband's property. Prasutagus hoped to safeguard Boudica's position by making an agreement to leave half his property to Rome in 59 or 60 AD. Prasutagus died. When Boudica attempted to defy the Romans who had come to seize her property, they had her beaten and attacked her daughters. Physical characteristics. Boudica was a very tall woman with a mass of long red hair. She had fierce eyes and a harsh voice. Boudica was a lady who was noticed. Boudica's army. Boudica rose up and staged a rebellion against the Romans. She brought together tribes to fight against the Romans and tried to force them out of Britain. Boudica led many against the Roman army and Roman villages. Her army greatly outnumbered that of the Romans' attacks. It was in her final battle that Boudica met with defeat. Although her army was large, they were not as skilled and as organized as the Roman army. Boudica exemplified a great leader. She was fierce, brave, and fought for what was right. There you have a picture of Boudica. It says Boudica going into battle. You have some fast facts about her, and then also a did you know, which says the name Boudica means Victoria or victory. Now, we are going to be boxing up our text map today. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples of how we box up, and you are going to then complete it as part of your first task. In our text map, let's look at our introduction. So our introduction, what features can you see in the introduction, which is just here? Have you ever wondered what makes a good leader? Read on to find out more about a famous leader who led her tribe in a rebellion against the Roman Empire. So what I can see, actually, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to highlight on the text map the features that we can see. And then for your task, you're going to put it onto your text map. So if I was to then look at here, I'm going to say that the first feature I can see is rhetorical questions. So I'm going to write that, which is the have you ever wondered what makes a good leader? Rhetorical questions. So that is a feature that you could include in your writing. And then I also have read on. Now, what is read on an example of? An imperative verb. If you think back to your instruction writing, you have your imperative verb. Fantastic. That's all I can see that's included in our box up. So if you were to write this in your box up, you would then write in here, rhetorical questions, and you'd also write imperative verbs, but I don't have too much space, which is why I'm highlighting it on the text map so you can see where it is. Now, paragraph 1 says here, who was Boudica? So what you would write here in the space where it says paragraph 1 is the actual subheading, which would be who was Boudica. Don't forget your question mark. Now, what features can you see in that paragraph? Have a read of it. It is just the paragraph that's underneath the title or the heading, or the subheading, even better, who was Boudica. Find features that you would write in your text map. Off you go. So one thing I have noticed that they have included is dates. So they've included the year that Prasatagas died. So that's a nice introduction into Boudica's life. It's by including facts such as dates. And also, one thing to remember is the fact that if you do include dates in your writing, it makes the reader believe your writing even more, because it shows that this person's done their research and they've included factual information that is correct. You've also got the fronted adverbial when. So fronted adverbials is a very, very nice feature to include in order to start your sentences nice and interestingly. So those are some of the features that you would find in paragraph 1. Now, what is paragraph 2 about? What does the subheading say? It says physical characteristics. So you would write that over here. Physical, you'll have to forgive my writing, Williams class. These boxes are a little bit small, but I'm trying. Physical characteristics, fantastic. Now look back in your text map, look at the section that says physical characteristics, or the paragraph that's underneath physical characteristics, and see what you can find. So what I can see are adjectives. So Boudica is described as very tall. So what I would write in my box up is adjectives, and then you could even give an example. Tall, like that. So that is what you could include in your box up for the second paragraph. Anything else that we would include? Boudica was a lady who was noticed. These are quite short sentences, I think. So maybe short, snappy sentences is another thing you could write. Something to write with a comma. Short, snappy sentences. Just like that. Short, snappy sentences, as we well know from our instructional writing, really help to capture the reader's attention because they're short, easy to read. You move on with the text map or through the text map a lot quicker when the sentences are shorter. Right, paragraph 3. What comes after physical characteristics? That's one subheading done there. What's the next one? Boudica's army. So you would write here, Boudica's army. Fantastic. Now, what features are in this section? This is one of the longer sections in our text map, so you should be able to find a lot more features. Let's see. You've got personal pronouns. So you've got the word she, which is a personal pronoun. So I would write that in my text map because it's important to it makes it more personal, I think. If you include the word she, then it's a different way of explaining something that Boudica did, rather than starting your sentences again and again with Boudica, Boudica, Boudica. You can start it in a different way by using the word she, by using the personal pronoun she. So personal pronouns, and then I'll write an example, she. Now you've been given 2 boxes to write about the features that you can see in the 3rd section, because it is such a long section compared to the other parts of your text map. So you can use more than one box if you would like to. When you do your box up, if you're going to box it up yourself, if you're going to draw the boxes yourself, then you can just draw a bigger box for that section. So we've included personal pronouns. What else is in that section? Let's see. Although, so a nice little conjunction there again, although. So I've noticed that these sentences are trying their best to start in many different ways rather than starting in the same exact way. Then, or you could just, rather than using the same words again and again, I hope I'm making sense. It's nice to have variety in your sentences. So for one sentence, you could start it off by writing Boudica led an army, but then in the next sentence, you could say she had long red hair. And then you could say the warrior known as Boudica did this and did that. Like, it's just a really, really nice way to read the text map. It's a little bit boring if you just read Boudica led an army, Boudica had long red hair, Boudica was fierce. It's just a bit repetitive, And if I don't know if you'll agree with me, but I think a little bit boring. So although is another really, really cool way of starting your sentences. Then we have our conclusions. So in terms of this text map and having a conclusion, I wonder if maybe our did you know would have been our conclusion. So that's just my idea. You might have a different idea as to what the conclusion in our text map is, but I'm going to stick with did you know. I think that's a really nice way of ending our text map. And then any vocabulary words, you can include any vocabulary words that are important to you in this text map. I'm going to use, let me see. I like the word fierce. I'm going to include that in there, but you could include many more. So that is just an example of how I would box up my text map. Your 3 tasks then, task number 1 is to complete the box up of the non-chronological report. Task number 2 is to highlight some of the vocabulary words that you think are important from the text, write them in the final box. And then task number 3 is to think of another paragraph that could be included in this non-chronological report and write down ideas for it. I look forward to seeing all the ideas that you come up with, Williams class. See you soon. Bye.